what are you doing down there?
Trying to find my keys.
This is my friend Parker Thompson.
Okay, go.
Hey, I'm at Honda Indy with my friend Parker Thompson. Hey, Parker.
How are you?
I'm good. So, Parker, like, what do you like? Is this a full-time job, or do you work at Burger King or something?
It is pretty much my full-time job. I mean, we're on the road on the Mazda Indy about 300 days of the year, including here in Toronto. So it definitely does keep me busy. But it is pretty well a full-time job, or hopefully will be a full-time job.
How do you like Toronto so far? Like, I know you live in Alberta, so like, how do you like Toronto?
Oh, I love Toronto. The people are amazing. Obviously, Canada is a great group. It's a great country. I'm happy to be in Canada anytime we can, and this is the only stop on the Mazda Indy that we get to make is in Canada, in Toronto, so I'm definitely happy to be here.
Okay, how long have you been racing for?
I've been racing since I was 8 years old, so I'm 18 now, so about 10 years.
8 years, that is pretty long time. And you're only 8, which is more unbelievable. So like 10 years, that's pretty unbelievable. But the fact you started as an 8-year-old, that's pretty cool.
Started in karts and then made the move to cars at 16.
Okay, like, what would you say? To be a racer, do you have to have a license?
You have to have a specific racing license with the Mazda Indy. So I actually started racing when I was 16 before I had my car license back in Alberta. So that's kind of how we do it, is we get the racing license first and then we can get our car license.
So basically you're able to start driving, but you're not allowed to drive on the roads.
Exactly. A lot of race car drivers actually get their start driving in race cars before they get their start driving in street cars.
Okay, so this is your car here, right? It's pretty nice. So, have you ever raced in a different kind of car, like not a kart like this, but kind of like a car, kind of like a normal street car, kind of, but like a race car? Like, it has an overhood. It's kind of like a normal car, just all the painting and the inside is different.
Right. I haven't done any of the street racing, or not street racing, but the closed car racing. I haven't done any of the sports car racing. I've only done open wheel. So I've only raced this girl and then a 1600 as well without the wings. Those are the 2 cars I've raced.
Which do you prefer?
I definitely have to prefer the open wheel car with the wings. Produces downforce so we can go extra fast through all the corners. And then it also is pretty high speed, obviously being an open wheel car, so definitely it's the funnest car I have to drive.
How many laps do you do every race? Like, how many laps do you have to do?
Average, some tracks we go to are longer than others. The average laps that we do in a race are about 25 to 30, kind of in there is our race distance.
How long does it usually take you per lap?
Around Toronto Indy, it takes us, the fastest lap I did in practice was a 1 minute, 14 seconds, and 6/10 was the fastest lap.
How fast does this car go on a street course?
About 145 miles per hour is what we hit at Toronto, and that's, I think, just over 200 kilometers an hour.
That is insanely fast.
It is pretty quick, I'm not going to lie.
How many kilometers are the whole one lap?
The track is about 2.5 miles, which is, I want to say, 3.2 or 3.4 kilometers.
Brain integration. What is that, Parker?
So that's the exercises we do before we get into the car to enable our bodies to travel at 145 miles per hour and still perform at the top level.
Basically, what is that? Like,
I'll explain. I'll enlighten you on it. So you've got the right side of your brain and the left side of your brain. They work differently, as you might know. You're a pretty experienced 10-year-old. So your right side controls a bunch of different functions, and your left side controls a bunch of different functions.
And the thing is, the left controls right, right controls left.
Exactly, and you have to get integrated before you get into a race car in order to perform at the highest level at the Toronto Indy. So that's what we do, is we do a bunch of brain integration exercises to make sure that our right side is just as strong as our left. So we do a bunch of stuff, cross crawls, and a bunch of eye integration exercises to get our peripherals correct. So that's what we do in order to get behind the wheel and wheel one of these around a street course.
How many times have you won a race?
I've won 3 times this year. I'm not sure on my career, I couldn't even give you a number, but we'll go off of this year's standings, and I've won 3 times.
How many races have you did ever? Do you know?
Great question. On the Mazda Road to Indy, I've probably done about 20 to 25 races.
Wait, how fun is it?
Oh, it's always fun. You're wheeling a race car around a street circuit at 145 miles per hour. It's always going to be fun. But at the end of the day, this is a job for me as well. I mean, I have to perform in order to keep moving up the ladder. So it is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of serious as well.
So, like, that's one of my questions. So, are you, when there's a race, are you forced to do it?
You're not forced to race. This is what I want to do, and this is what I love. It's my passion. But at the same time, you're forced to do the other stuff that comes along with it. You're forced to go out and get sponsors. You're forced to make sure that your body's in the best preparation that it can be for the races. You're forced to do all the hard stuff. The fun part is getting in the car and wheeling it around a racetrack.
So, is there specific food you have to eat?
I am on a diet, so definitely carbs are bad. We want to eat a lot of protein. Carbs are good when you're carb loading, but when you're training in the off season, you definitely want to cut weight and get lean. So it's pretty important to stay on a diet, and you're on a calorie diet as well. So we try and stick 1,500 calories a day is kind of what we want to see. So definitely don't be going off and eating Big Macs after the race.
What's your favorite hobby other than racing?
Favorite hobby other than racing, I have to say, is golf. I do love golf, and that's pretty opposite spectrum. I mean, you've got racing that's super high-paced and lots of action, and then you've got golf that's pretty calm. But at the same time, I love it. It's just a different thrill that I get, and I couldn't live without it.
You also like badminton, don't you?
I do love badminton.
And also, I also found out how you like cross-country running.
Look at this. He knows everything. Pretty soon you're going to be Parker Thompson before.
You're like me. I love cross-country running, actually. I have never missed it.
I do dabble a little bit in hockey coming from Red Deer, Alberta. That's pretty big back home, so I play with all my friends. But other than that, you know what? I tend to just hit the gym. That's usually what we have to do, is train to race a car. You can't really play other sports in order to get the right training, so you definitely got to hit the gym.
That's very cool. So, your family's all here. So what kind of support do they give you?
Tons of support. I mean, I've got all my partners here, which are really important. That's what allows us to go racing. So they're here for the home Grand Prix. And then I've also got my entire family here, my mom, my dad, my grandma, and my uncle and aunt coming out. So it's pretty fantastic, along with all the other people from Toronto and the Canadians that are supporting me. So it's definitely a big deal for me to do good here.
How dangerous is it racing?
Every track kind of varies, but Toronto is definitely going to be on the danger side of the spectrum. Obviously, you look at concrete walls, and we're traveling at about 145 miles per hour, so it is pretty sketchy out there. But you know what? As a race car driver, you put that in the back of your mind, and you make sure you don't think about it while you're out there, and that's the only way that you can go out and put down a quick lap time.
Is there a particular height you have to be in a race car? Because I know how you have to kind of sit kind of like this, and your legs have to be long enough to reach the pedals. So is there like a specific height you have to be?
There is. Generally in racing, the smaller the better, because that means your lower center of gravity and the car's going to go faster. Now that's to an extent. You can't be super tiny and get into one of these race cars, but actually 5'7", which I am right now, is the perfect number to be for a race car driver. So hopefully I don't hit a growth spurt anytime soon.
On behalf of all the Canadians, we all wish you great success in the race tomorrow, and hopefully you get on that podium.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.